Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone present on this moment, including our esteemed lecturer, Ms. Sarah Yunus. Hello, Ms. Sarah, and hello, everyone else. Now, first of all, thank you very much for spending your time to be with us today for this forum discussion with the topic regarding, in regards to the diverse effects of online learning on university with me, Muhammad Afif Farhan bin Rushdan, as your chairperson today. How is everyone feeling today? Can I get some information, some response?
Feeling okay, great,
Okay.
feeling fine.
Yes, I'm feeling great too.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Right. Now, in the midst of the current situation of our world, a pandemic globally known as COVID-19 has struck our world heavily, immobilizing the whole world in a lot of ways that we definitely were not anticipating before this. Due to this, we've slowly come to accept the fact that a severe part of our lifestyle has changed and quickly adapted to what is now known as the new norm. Now, as we speak, we are in the second MCO in our country where everyone is forced to either work from home, study from home, do everything from home. Now, I imagine that it's affecting everyone, and I mean everyone in terms of mental health, physical health, and all that. Also, part of which is what students are currently experiencing right now, which is online learning. Online learning is now an essential element in daily education, and even more so when we look at university students. I, I, I think we have, for our forum panels today, we have 3 university students, am I right?
Yes.
Yes,
I see, including Miss Fazlin. All right. Now, before the start of this pandemic, it is compulsory for university students to be present on campus for classes and other activities. However, it would seem that classes are now opted to be held online. How has this change to the core of university education affect the students themselves in various aspects? That is the main discussion that we are going to be discussing today. Before we go any further, I of course would like to introduce to all the forum panels present right now. Now, Mr. Wong Yusong, can you introduce yourself to everyone?
Hi everyone, my name is Wong Yisong and I will take the role of counselor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. What about you, Mr. Jearvin Nathan?
hi, my name is Jearvin and I'm the university student in UKM, Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia.
Okay, nice to meet you. What about you, Miss Nurul Fazlin?
Hello everyone, my name is Nurul Fazlin. I am also a student from Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia.
Okay. What about our last forum panel, Miss Nurul Aufa?
Hi everyone, I am Nurul Aufa. Just like Jearvin and Fazlin, I am also one of university student from Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia.
I see. So I assume that all of you guys are from different courses?
Yes, friend.
I see. That's quite a diverse background that we have, including our counselor, Mr. Wong. Okay, starting off with a discussion, I think it would be wise if we first properly define what exactly is online learning. Could Mr. Wong please tell us what is defined as online learning?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. A delightful afternoon to all the panelists and the audience. I am thrilled to be one of the panelists here. Basically, what is meant by online learning is a term that encompasses all forms of technology enhanced learning, which is known as TEL. We can call it as web-based learning. During this period of pandemic COVID-19, it has shown that the importance of online learning, especially for university students. COVID-19 has become an international concern since first case occurred in Wuhan, Hubei province, China. To my mind, I believe that every country in this world would implement some measures in order to counteract this disease from spreading in our community. For example, like working or learning from home to reduce the physical distance between people. This measure definitely changes the style of learning for every university student. That means students can attend the class or from anywhere in the world that have internet access. Using internet to attend class, research information and communication with other students using technology that will be critical to workers in the 21st century business community that works with colleagues globally and across time zone. Back to you, Mr. Moderator.
Right. Thank you so much for the clear definition of online learning, Mr. Wong. That will be the cornerstone of our discussion today. All right, without wasting our time, my first question to our first panel, Ms. Fazlin. Ms. Fazlin, based on your knowledge and your experience, how has online learning affected the students positively, and in what aspects do they affect?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The positive effects of online classes on students are students able to practice and adapt time management skills. Time management skill is important not only in the working world but also during study time. During online learning, students will be given numerous assignments to complete. To finish all the assignments before the deadlines and at the same time study for exam and quizzes, students have to manage their time effectively. By this, they able to practice and improve their time management skill. A good time management allows students to accomplish more in a short period of time, which leads them to have more free time, and this also helps them to lower their stress. When one had mastered a good time management skill, there will be no room for procrastination. Not to mention that this skill is needed and admired by most employers. Another positive effect is students can customize their own learning environment. Students can create a pleasant environment for them to study. It doesn't need to be all fancy. In fact, it only needs to be comfortable with no distractions. In this room, the student can attend online classes and do all their assignments. They do not have to put up with a noisy and busy environment such as a college cafeteria or library when doing their assignments. One way to further advance this learning method is by sharing educational videos. Lecturers can make video in their teaching. Lecturers can include video in their teaching to make students understand more about the topic that they are learning. For example, since students aren't able to conduct experiments due to online learning, the lecturer can provide a video of the experiment being conducted in a lab for the students. This will make the students more interested to study instead of just reading the textbook. That is all from me. Back to you, Mr. Moderator.
I see. Thank you, Ms. Fazlin. I have a question that I kind of want to reaffirm with you. So what are you saying is that by using online learning, in a way, it will improve students' employability rate in the future when they're out for job hunting and all that. Is that correct?
Yes, employers nowadays often appreciate the time management skills, and it is mostly needed during working. Yes.
All right, thank you. Okay, again, from what Ms. Fazlin has said, it basically means students now have the chance to cater university classes to their own schedule and help them practice self-management. That is definitely a good point. Right. My next question is to Mr. Wong. Do you agree that online learning is affecting university students positively?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. However, I beg to differ with Nurul Fazlin's opinion. In my opinion, although online learning has become a trend in 21st century, it has actually created some negative impacts on university students, especially on psychological impacts. I reckon that students will be saturated with online learning. As a counselor, there are students complain that during the first 2 weeks of the classes, research subject still felt uncomfortable with online learning. However, in the second week, the excitement of online learning is diminishing. Student has questioned the effectiveness of online learning. During the second week, students began to spread memes as complaint against online learning. Here are some examples that the memes spread by students. Allow me to share my screen here. Yeah, these are the example of the memes spread by students as a result to reduce the stress during the online classes. Yeah, we can see how creatively the student has been going through all these forms of memes. Why the students are likely to spread memes in the forms of complaint? This is because online classes will always cause boredom, which is the second disadvantages of online learning. The boredom is caused by the increasing distance between people as a result of policy of physical distancing and the prohibition to leave the house. Anxiety then arises and get worse because there is no interpersonal communication. This eventually will cause the third disadvantages, which is students will miss out non-verbal communication. As we know, non-verbal communication is more important than verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is also known as body language, which refer to gesture, eyes contact, or etc. Besides, there is a possibility that university students may experience emotional disorder characterized by moods and mood swings. They seem to be doubtful about their future. Please allow me to share the screen again to view according to the specific chart. Yeah, this is the chart based on research. According to a new Pew Research Center survey conducted on 19 until 24 March of 2020, nearly 1 in 5 of US students, which is 18%, say that they have physical reaction at least some of little of the time when thinking about the outbreak. When asked more broadly how they felt in the past 7 days, 18% of the students report that they are experiencing nervousness or anxiety most or all the time during the past week. This has shown that how COVID-19 brought some of the negative psychological impacts to students. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Moderator.
Well then, thank you so much, Mr. Wong. That's quite an insightful speech you have given up. So from your point of view, students' psychology seems to greatly suffer when it comes to online learning. Is that right, Mr. Wong?
Yes, exactly.
I see. Now, again, also, this is just for fun. Don't take this seriously, but it piqued my interest when you mentioned about the memes. I'm sure you've had your own share of enjoyment when you came across those memes. Now, my concern is that by students creating those memes, is that a good impact on them, or is that actually a bad thing?
I think if we look to the another side of this thing, this is actually a great thing for the student to relieve their stress during online classes, since they have no platform for them to complain about their problems and those things. Hence I think that this is quite like a great thing for them to explore, and also from the other side they can also explore their creativity. Yeah.
I see. All right. Now, again, next up, to flare up our discussion today, Miss Aufa, can you share with us your opinion on the viability of online learning in the long run? Would it affect the students positively or otherwise?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. It is my pleasure to welcome everyone to our interesting forum. In my opinion, there are students who still do not have access to laptops, tablets, or even the internet in the modern world. It is important to be familiar with the technology as well as the online activities of these students. Using computer software, navigating the internet, and learning through different forms of digital media are all great ways that e-learners can improve their technological skills. With more and more people having access to modern technology and devices, our society becomes more tech-savvy as a whole and stays atop the latest trends. I also think online learning will affect students positively, especially in the aspect of financial. The online education will cost less to the students. This is because the online student is not affected by exorbitant costs related to travel back and forth to campus, such as petrol, parking, car maintenance, and public transportation costs. Other than that, living costs could be lessened, especially students who live in hostel or rent house by moving back to their own family's house. The additional costs that students need to pay to universities, such as bus fee, annual activity fee, facilities fee, and etc., are no more necessary. Most of subjects that held online are mostly not required the student to buy physical textbook, as the lecturer could share the soft copy to of their students for free. This can result in a big savings as textbook can be expensive. There will be more time for students who need to work part-time to pay for their tuition fees, studies fees, their own daily meal, and life costs to balance their work and study period. Even though students need to upgrade their internet plan for their high-speed internet connection, some of the company in our country has provide cheaper internet plan nowadays, and there is also a company like Yes.my who provide free internet to all university students to ease the journey of their study. By saving much more money during the online learning, the amount of students loan could be lessened, and this will ease the student in future. We can conclude that online learning could be beneficial to students, especially in financial. That's all from me. Back to you, Mr. Chairperson.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Alpha, for the wonderful speech. To conclude what you have gathered, online learning is definitely benefiting university students financially in ways that students can now reduce their daily expenses and reduce their expenses on textbooks and all that, because you can just soft copy, use soft copy like what you've just said, among many other things compared to before. But I'm intrigued. I have I have a question for you. What about tuition fees? I mean, sorry, the university fees itself. As we all know, university fees can be quite a lot. It can add up to around 1,000 ringgit at minimum, all the way to 10,000 ringgit. That's not even maximum tuition fees. What do you think about it? Would online learning help reduce the costs?
As I have mentioned, there is time for the student to work part-time. So I think that will be lessen their burden to pay the university fee.
I see. All right, thank you. Now, from what we've discussed at this point, there are both positive and negative effects on students regarding online learning. Like Ms. Fazlin also mentioned, there are ways to overcome this. There are ways to improve this online learning. What about you, Mr. Jearvin? What is your stance on this matter? If anything, could you propose any solutions on the underlying problems of online learning?
Thank you to the moderator. In my opinion, online learning brings negative effect towards students, especially students' mental and physical health. This is due to the increase in screen time usage. As we know, since we are learning through online, the assignment and the work given are in our electronic devices. So, students need to refer to their electronic devices to complete their assignment and work given, resulting in the increase in screen time usage. This often linked with increase in depression and anxiety. Students altering their sleep cycles due to the increase in screen time usage cause difficulty in falling asleep, staying asleep, and daytime fatigue. Besides students' health, online learning also causes lack of communication skill development. This is due to the lack of face-to-face communication between peers, students, and teachers. The lack of human communication can lead to social isolation, which can result in stress and anxiety. Other than that, online learning also limits the students' feedback. For example, in traditional classroom, students who face problem with their work or assignment can directly ask the lecturer and get personalized feedback on the spot, which makes the learning process easier and also raises the student motivational level. However, in an online learning, it is difficult to get a good personalized feedback as it is in real classroom situation. In my opinion, the solution for this negative effect is firstly, students should seek to sleep for 8 to 9 hours each night during online learning. In an interview with the newsletter, Director of the Hopkins Pediatric Sleep Center, Dr. Laura Sterney said, "Be sure to turn off your electronic and do something relaxing the hour before bed," when offering tips on how to decompress before bed to encourage rest. Students should also be physically active and eating healthy during online learning. Besides that, peer-to-peer group activities which require communication should be done in an online learning. This can develop their communication skills and make new friends. The students will not feel alone and it will boost their motivation to study. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Jefferson.
Excuse me, before we move to Mr. Moderator, I entirely agree with you, Mr. Jearvin. As far as Mr. Jearvin is concerned, Although there are some of the negative psychological impact on university students, there are always a solution to tackle it. As Mr. Jearvin mentioned just now, peer-to-peer activities which require communication should be done. So I think that it is our responsibility to voice out your thoughts to your parents or counselor whenever you face any problem. They will always lend their ears to you. This is because sharing is caring. Yeah, back to you, Mr. Moderator.
Okay, quite another insightful point of view from Mr. Jearvin, Nathan, and Mr. Wong. Now, we clearly know, even though there are negative effects in online learning, there are also, of course, solutions to tackle the problems as well. In due time, I'm sure online learning will be much more efficient and student-friendly. But of course, I also would like to ask Mr. Jearvin one more thing. You being a university student yourself, do you have any personal experience in online learning that you could share with us? Maybe something like how you feel every time you are logged into online class. How do you feel during the online class itself?
On my point of view, I think online class is quite tiring because it's we are just sitting in front of the laptop or our phone the whole day, like morning to afternoon. It's quite tiring and it doesn't do much physical activity, so it's a bit tiring and not doesn't feel right lah.
I see. So that's why you said we need to have physical activities in our daily life, even though we have online learning. I see. That's definitely a good point. Now I will open for anyone freely to voice out their opinions. Do any of us have anything more to add?
I do, Mr. Moderator. Yeah, according to my friend, who is also a counselor at NSU University, her name is Jessica. She is worked as counseling services at NSU. She claimed that the root of anxiety is the mind or body ways of responding to stress, uneasiness, and some of the unfamiliar situation. Stress could be settled if we can share our thoughts to people around you. Other ideas of how to tackle may also include medication, playing an instrument, running, cooking, or seeking any professional helps among others. Yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much again, Mr. Wong. It would seem that now we are finally at the end of our forum session. Much has been discussed and much have also been agreed upon, which is online learning definitely has its own pros and cons, and it entirely depends on the multiple aspects that it relies on, whether it's going to be on physical aspects or mental health, on social aspects. All of them are interrelated to each other. Nevertheless, this is what is now known as the new norm. Hence, we must persevere and figure out solutions to tackle the problems that arise with it. Hopefully, in the future, our education system will be much more efficient and reliable prior to this global pandemic. What I mean is, hopefully, online learning is much more viable than traditional learning, face-to-face learning. That's that could be the future that we are aiming for after this, because with the advancement of technology every single day, we can hope to see this realized in the near future. All right, okay, that's all that we've all have to say. Now, signing off, me, Muhammad Afif Farhan bin Rushdan, as your chairperson, as your moderator. I'm happy to have been a part of this forum session, and I extend my most gratitude to all of our forum members today. Have a good day, everyone.